Okay, so there's a protest going on at the weekend on the 14th of June. British people probably don't even realise it's going on because the BBC won't tell you. Maybe they will because it's against Trump, I suppose. But anyway, so there's a protest going on. It's called the No King or No Kings protest, right? And supposedly across America, there's going to have a load of people going to turn up. But what they don't tell you is it's funded by the heiress for Walmart, who doesn't like Donald Trump because he put the tariffs in place and when Walmart complained, he said, look, if you care about your customers, you'd eat the tariffs out your profits. Why have customers got to see tariffs? Which is true, they could do it. But she's funding a load of NGOs, which are these non-profit organisations that were funded by USAID. Don't be confused. Don't call it USAID because it wasn't USAID. It was USAID. They were purely a payment service for the American government to pay things, not just foreign aid, but all sorts of things. And the actual fact, CIA used it to fund things like military coups and stuff. When they want to change the government in a country, they use funds from there. In fact, when they wanted to assassinate people, they did it. So anyway, so it's funded, and some of these funders are the Chinese Communist Party. They're funding it. So all these idiots are out dancing on the street, dancing for China. So they're morons. Anyway, crux of the matter is obviously is immigration. So let's get this immigration thing clear, because we need it clear here as well. If you are in America illegally, i.e. you've overstayed your visa, or you've come in across a, not for a checkpoint, not for a border place, you've just come across a border illegally, you turn up on a boat or you turn up in a plane hidden away, nobody knows you're there, you've got in the country. It doesn't matter whether you've been in the country 20 years or 20 minutes. You entered illegally, you stayed illegally, you overstayed your visa illegally. That makes you a criminal. You are now a criminal alien. There is no two ways about it. You're criminally there. You did not go through due process to enter the country. You didn't go through the airport like we all do when we go on holiday and show our passport and go through the questions and making sure that they feel comfortable letting us in. You've got in illegally. So you are illegal. You have no right to be there. So when they find you, they throw you out. Now, you've had all these protests going on all week. You've had all these idiots, and they're waving Mexican flags, waving flags of Guatemala, Cuba, anywhere, apart from America. The American flags, they're burning, that they got. Now, if you've got people protesting, but they're setting fire to flags, they're burning businesses down, they're setting fire to cars, blowing things up, beating people up, spitting on people, pissing in their fuel tanks and everything else they're getting up to, that's not protesting. That's not a march for freedom. That's not a march for please change your mind, don't do it. That's violence. In my opinion. I mean, they're lucky. They're lucky I ain't 10% to be the president, because I'll tell you what, I send the Marines in and just say open fire. Shoot the fucking lot of them. Be done with it. Give them one good bloody hiding and they won't, none of them come out anymore. But obviously that's not the way. And Donald Trump's too clever for that. He's not going to do that. But if you're going to be violent, then you cannot be called protesters anymore. You're rioters. Not being funny, January 6th, people were walking through the Capitol building, taking photographs like it's a holiday. And it only went sour when they tried to sort of wind them up and get them going. And only a few were pushing and shoving. And pushing and shoving was caused by police and undercover officers in the crowd. But no one had any weapons. No, if you broke windows, that was it. Nothing got burnt down. Nothing happened. They locked those people up for 4 years. And they were quite happy to keep them there for another 20, had Donald Trump not won. So if this lot that are doing these protests, they need at least the same treatment, surely. I wish we would. But of course, the trouble is that the conservative movement, the Republican movement, the MAGA movement, not vindictive. They're realists. we think about things, we understand when people are upset. We would rather try to sort the problems out with them than just dive on them. Whereas the Democrats they want anarchy. They want the downfall of America, and because it will follow that the West falls, and their ultimate paymasters are the Chinese. That's what's going on. And if you can't see it, it's just because you haven't looked hard enough. Look where the money's going. Look at all the universities. Where there's trouble in universities, look who funds those universities. Look how much money comes from China into those universities. Look at the number of Chinese students that are there organising these protests, get involved with these protests, paying for these protests. You'll soon see this is a common theme. So this no kings thing on the weekend. Now what they're saying is that Donald Trump is pretending to be the king, or thinks he's the king. Well, if he did, then you could just look at England and say, okay, what was England like when we had a king actually that was in power? He's not in power anymore. Look. I mean, we haven't had a royal family that's been in power for a long time. He's a figurehead. He's basically bring the tourists in, isn't he? Don't do a very good job. He's a twat. But at the end of the day, he's still the king. However, years ago, when you had like King Henry and all the rest of it, back in the good old days of England, I suppose, the king decided, right? So if he got up in the morning and thought, right, you know what, that Steve bloke, fuck him, he's dead. Someone turn up, take me away, chop me head off. End of story. No messing, no argument. No judge gets to go to court and put an injunction out. Oh, you stop doing that, Henry, you naughty boy. I'm going to put a stop on him just because he did this, did that. He's not. No, you can't lock him up. No, none of that shit. The king says, the king does. The king had a guard, and if you upset the king, and you didn't do what he wanted you to do, his people would come and basically just sort you out, take you out, do what they wanted to you, right? Take your land, take all your stuff, whatever they wanted. That's what a king does. The king doesn't ask for permission. He only gives permission. The king does what he feels like doing that day, and if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. It's down to the king, and every king's different. Every king has a different opinion, and every king could get in a bad mood. Just ask Henry VIII's wives. So, a bit cheaper than divorces, I suppose, wasn't it? Anyway, so kings we've established do whatever the hell they want, right? Donald Trump doesn't get to do whatever the hell he wants. Donald Trump has plans that he put in front of his voters, and he said, this is what I want to do when I get voted in. I'm going to get rid of illegal immigration. I'm going to close the borders. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And he had a list of things, and they voted for him. 80 million people voted for him. Voted him in as president. He has a mandate for the people to do it. Now, you all claim when Biden was supposedly voted in with all the photocopiers, oh, well, he got a mandate to do it, he can do what he wants. Okay, well, we had to live with it for 4 years. You've got to live with it now. It's no good protesting. You've got to live with it now. We were on the streets burning anything down when Biden was in there. We tried to have constructive conversations. We tried to get to the bottom of what he was doing and why he was doing it, try and catch the corruption. Nobody rioted. Nobody on the right rioted. But the left wing do. So you've got to suck it up. Now, if Donald Trump wants to get rid of illegals, he gets rid of illegals. If they've got no right to be there, they've got no right to be there. Now, I'm telling you now, a peaceful protest is peaceful. That means you're marching along, shouting and screaming a bit. Things might get knocked over. You might accidentally crack a few windows, maybe, I don't know. But there'll be a few, no doubt it'll have some effect. But essentially, it's peaceful. You're not going to disrupt other people. You're going to let people get about their own daily lives, and that's it. But if you turn up places and you start smashing things up, and you start burning things down, and you start smashing up cars, you start attacking people, you start breaking into businesses, stealing their goods. I mean, if you're a protester, why do you need to break into Gucci and nick all their bags? What was that about? It just proves it's not a protest. It's nothing to do with a protest. It's a riot. So if you do that over the weekend, and you're in these towns and cities and everything else across America, and you start being violent, being, riot, then the National Guard, the Marines, the police forces, and in any of the red states, any of the Donald Trump voting states, with which there are many, There's not many Democrat states. There's got five places in America that are strongly Democrat. The rest are all strongly Donald Trump. But if you're in one of those states and you start trouble, especially in the armed states where the Second Amendment is strong, there's going to be problems. And you're going to then try and blame us for the problems. But it won't be us. We will sort the problems out. That's the conservative way. That's the Republican way. That there will be a FAFO point, all right? And then all bets will be off. And the problem is that a lot of the people you'll be dealing with will be law enforcement or legal citizens that will have guns and they will defend themselves. And some of you people are going to have to be careful because of the way you act. You could get yourselves in trouble. So have your protest, enjoy it. Hopefully it's a nice day for it. But try and make it a protest, not a riot, like you've been seeing, because that's not going to end well. In fact, I suspect that your paymasters will make sure that at some point someone kicks off to and causes themselves a massive problem, because they need that type of thing to happen to get their narrative up and running and pretend that Trump is all, is this dictator, and they'll want something like that to happen. They want one of you rioters to be killed by the police, or killed by ICE, or killed by a Marine. They really want it, and you guys don't want that. Nobody in MAGA wants it. Nobody Republican wants it. No one in America wants it. But you lefties are walking yourselves into a trap, as you normally do. An awful lot of you guys are just a little bit short of a picnic, aren't you? Let's face it, you can't even work out what a woman is, most of you. So you're walking into something there that could be engineered into a situation purely to attack Trump by the people who are paying you to be there. And they don't give a shit if you live or die. I promise you that. They don't give a shit if you live or die. They've got their money. They don't lose any sleep about you being gone, because if they can get the newspaper headlines out of it, they'll upset the Trump administration. As far as they're concerned, they've done their job. They got their money's worth. They couldn't give two shits about you or your family. So, like I say, have a good weekend, everyone. But be safe out there. And don't go doing something you will regret. All right. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, please. Thank you very much.